I've been doing YouTube now for over 7 years.
Hi guys, and welcome to a tutorial on how to levitate in your photos.
I started in 2019, and in that time, I've released a total of 850 videos, mostly going over Lightroom and Photoshop, showing you guys how you can become a better photo editor, learning a few tips and tricks and a few effects along the way. So in today's video, I thought I'd culminate that in one video, going over what I think are my top 7 favorite photo effects that you guys should try on your next photo. And I'm gonna start right now. Now, my first photo effect that I love creating is a sharpen mask. And this is really good to make your subject stand out versus the background, especially when it comes to its overall sharpness. Now take this photo here. This is going to be a really good example. We've got a nice soft background because we shot at 600mm at f4. This is shot on the Sigma 300 to 600mm. And as you can see, we've got a really good amount of sharpness, but we can really make the subject stand out by making it even sharper. Now, instead of creating a global adjustment, you'd think you just go to the details panel and mess around with the sharpen slider, but actually there's a better way to do it. What we're gonna do is go over to our masking panel. You can see I've already made a few masks. What we're gonna do is create a new mask, and we simply go ahead and select subject. Once that subject is selected, we're gonna go all the way down to where you can see it says texture, clarity, and dehaze. And what we want to do is simply increase these values. So with texture, I'm gonna increase by around 10. With clarity, I like increasing by around 20 to really make it sharp. What's really nice about clarity is it kind of increases the contrast on a pixel-based level. And because it's based within a mask, it's not going to globally affect the photo. And then with dehaze here, I like increasing that by around 5. So if we go ahead and zoom in now, and what I can do is show you the before and after, it's made an ever so slightly sharpen effect. It works really well with wildlife, especially with a lot of texture. It's really showing the water droplets and the feathers. But if you've got yourself a portrait photo, what you can do is create a sharpen effect to the hair, for example. That works really well as well. So if you really want to basically isolate certain parts of the image to make them look sharper or softer, you can actually use a mask and create a sharpening mask from that. It's one of my favorite and recent masks that I've added to a lot of my photos in my portfolio. Another effect that I create quite a lot is a soft shadow effect. And this is really nice to basically not have rich blacks in your image, have a nice soft shadow look, basically slightly reducing the dynamic range, but only in the shadow regions. Now there's 2 ways that we can create this depending on the strength and creativity of your photo. The first way is by simply going to your basics panel, making sure you're looking at your histogram, this is really important, going to the blacks and then simply increasing the blacks. Now I'd increase it to between 30 and 40. This will raise the blacks, basically reducing the amount of blacks in your image, creating that soft shadow effect. The problem is with this slider is it's not very powerful. Even at 100%, it still hasn't totally removed the power of those blacks. So if you're finding you want slightly more creative control over it, I wouldn't use the basics panel. I would open up the tone curve. And then I would just basically focus on the bottom left-hand side of your tone curve. Now I've already made a few points, but what I would do is go to the very far point, so that is your black point, and simply raise it up. You want to make sure that your input value is 0 and your output value is larger. The higher the output number, the more of a soft shadow effect that you're creating. So for example, I would probably go to a soft shadow effect of around output of 20, and it added this really nice look. Now you might want to play around with the other values as well to make sure that you've got the right amount of contrast in other parts, but look at the difference of the histogram. There's now no more blacks in this image, where if I reverse this, you can see that now there is information in the blacks. So you can actually play around with this by reducing the dynamic range, and it creates a slightly softer look. Works really well with portrait and landscape photos. So if you haven't tried it before, I would try a soft shadow effect. Now another effect I love creating is this vintage retro look, and I've actually got a preset that does this perfectly, and I've called it Kodak Portrait. So what I'm gonna do is go over to my presets. I'm going to go ahead and open up Codec Portrait Simulation, and I've got a few ISOs that I've created. The one that I really like is Codec Portrait 1600, and you can see it creates this really cool kind of retro look. But let me show you how it actually creates it. So firstly, in the basics panel, we've made a couple of adjustments. We've basically slightly reduced the dynamic range of this image. So you can see there's no true whites and no true blacks in this image. Now we've done this by in the highlights and shadows section, you can see we've decreased the values in the whites and increased the values in the blacks. But the most powerful section is inside our tone curve. We've basically added in a very subtle S-curve where we've removed a lot of information in the whites as well as blacks, basically that soft shadow effect that I've just shown you. But you'll also notice it's got this kind of greeny tinge to it. Well, what I've done to create that is inside the color grading panel, you can see that my global adjustment, I've got an 80% green hue, so kind of this yellowy green hue, with a 15% saturation value to it. So it's added this overall kind of color cast to the image. And I must say, I really like it to create this Kodak Portrait look, this retro look. But of course, a retro look wouldn't be finished if we didn't add a grain effect. So if I go down to my effects, you can see that I've added in a vignette, but I've also added quite a strong grain effect. If I go ahead and zoom in, you can see we've got this grain effect applied. And that's kind of the secrets of creating this retro vintage look. Slightly reduce the dynamic range of your image by removing information in the whites and blacks, as well as kind of mess around with some of the colors, adding a little bit more green or a little bit more blue. A split toning effect works really well. And then lastly, add in a grain effect. I really like this look, and hopefully you do too. Now, we briefly talked about it, but the next one is split toning, and I do this to basically every single one of my photos. Split toning is the process of basically adding in a specific color tone to the highlights and a specific color tone to the shadows, usually in a complementary fashion. So in the warm tones or in the highlight tones, we'd add a warm look, and then would do the opposite, would add a cooler tone to the shadows. And this wedding photo is gonna be a really good example. Now, to create a split toning effect, we're gonna open up our color grading panel. And basically we want to affect the highlights, you can see here with our color wheel here, and then we've also got the shadows. So the first color I would add in would be a hue of around 50, 25 to 50, depending on the warm tone that you want to add in. Then I'd go to my saturation and I'd go ahead and increase it. Depending on the balance of your image, how much bright and how much darken it is, or depending on the value you will want to add in. I find between 10 to 20 works for most photos, so I'm gonna choose 15 in this example. And then you want to add in basically the opposite color. So you want to kind of draw an imaginary line, you want to kind of add in a blue. So I'm going to add in a nice dark blue, probably choose a blue of around 230, and again add in that hue, but you might want to add in a slightly different number. Again, the balance between highlights and shadows. There's a lot of shadows in this image, so I don't need to go as far with this slider. And as you can see, it's done a pretty good job. Hue of 230 with a 10% saturation. What I could do is show you the before and after. It's a subtle change, but I really like a split toning effect, especially if you've shot your photos at golden hour. Now, another effect I like creating is more of a muted color look. And this works really well, especially if you've shot in a very saturated environment. Take this photo here, it's a wedding I shot last year, and the colors are quite rich and quite saturated. So I'd actually go in and probably desaturate a lot of these tones without affecting the skin tones, obviously. And I've actually got a preset that does this perfectly. So what I'm gonna do is open up my presets. I am gonna go to Wedding Preset Pack 3, and I think warm brown tones works really nicely. Now, to show you what I've done within this preset, if we open up the color mixer tool, we can see that we've actually desaturated a lot of the very saturated colors in this photo. So you can see in the greens, we've dropped them down by -30, -40 for the aquas, and -40 for the blues. But because we don't want to mess around with the skin tones, we've actually increased some of the brightness in the skin tones of the reds. We've decreased the oranges slightly, but we've actually increased the yellows. And we can see in hue, we've only made a few changes. Most of the changes, we've actually made no changes in luminance. Most of the changes are just in saturation. And if I turn the color mixer tool on and off, so that's before and that's after, we've made a pretty big impact, as well as you can see the changes that I've made in the basics panel as well. So to create this nice muted look, I would go into the color mixer tool and reduce the colors that you're finding quite bright. Don't reduce it all the way, but between -30 and -60 works really well to create this nice muted look. Don't mute every single color, just the colors that are very powerful and very intense. And if you have got skin tones, skip out reds, oranges, and sometimes even yellows. Now, number 6 is probably my favorite one, and that is by creating a photo contrast effect. Now, there's many ways of adding in contrast to your photo. Contrast is basically just the difference between your brightest brights and your darkest blacks. Now, this photo here has a lot of contrast, but we can add in a specific photo contrast look. Now, you might just think, we've got the contrast slider here, you can mess around with that. But actually, that does it on a pixel-based level. It will look at the pixels around it and basically just adds in more dynamic range. We want to look at the image and add in contrast where that color and where the light actually falls. So we want to add in 2 masks, a brighten mask and a darken mask. And they can be different shapes or different sizes, but the 2 I usually go for is a radial or linear gradient. So what can we do with this photo here? Well, if you go to my masks, what I'm gonna do is basically create a linear gradient. And I'm just gonna look at where the shadows are in the image, so predominantly in the bottom half. And I'm gonna go ahead and just create a mask like so. Then all I'm gonna do is to add in contrast, I'm going to simply darken this area. So I'm gonna darken it down like so. I might darken it down by 1.2 stops. But every time we darken an area, to add in that contrast, we want to add in a brighten area as well. So I'm gonna go ahead, create another mask. This time I'm gonna go for radial gradient. And I'm gonna go look where the bright parts is. So I'd say it's where the sunset is, and basically select that area. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that area like so. And in this case, I'd go to my exposure and simply increase it. And look at the difference. We've basically added in contrast to the photo, not to the pixels. We've brightened a certain area and darkened area. Now you can add in a few more effects as well. So for example, I'd probably add in more of a warmer tone to the warmer tones here. I'd probably also go down to my texture clarity and dehaze and drop that down by -20 across the board, adding in a nice soft look to those shadows. And of course you can add in more masks if you like. I've actually turned this into a preset as well, so I've added it basically a mask preset to add in this photo contrast look. But look at the difference. Here is the before and here is the after. This is a really cool effect. I highly recommend adding it to your editing workflow as well. And lastly is a vignette, but not any old vignette, a custom vignette, because the vignette tool or the post-cropping vignette tool in Lightroom only works if your subject is bang smack in the center of your frame, which sometimes isn't the case. Take this photo here as an example. We've got the subject that's kind of center left of the frame. So we need to kind of create our own custom vignette. And actually it's a really simple process. We're actually gonna be using masks. So again, go over to our masking tool. You can see I've already added in a brighten mask to this. But this time I'm gonna go create a new mask. I'm gonna go for radial gradient. And this time, just create a nice big gradient in the center of your image. Now, obviously a vignette darkens the outside of the image, not the inside. So we need to kind of flip this, which is actually really simple. You've got your radial gradient, simply go ahead and click invert. And now you can see that basically it's the opposite. We've inverted our selection here. Now this is where you want to change the shape of your mask. So you want to obviously make it slightly larger than the frame itself, but you want to place it over your subject. And obviously what's really nice about this is you can move it around depending on where you want. So I'm gonna move it again to the center left, covering my subject here. You can also reduce the feather and also the size as well. And then all you need to do is go to your exposure and simply drop it down. And look how cool that looks. If I drop it down by 1 entire stop, this works really well. So if your subject isn't directly in the center of the frame and your post-cropping vignette just doesn't work, you can easily create a vignette by creating a custom vignette inside your masking panel.